So Nil by Mouth came out in 1997 and was written and directed by Gary Oldman, one of the best actors of all time. It stars Ray Winston and Kathy Burke, and it tells the story of a dysfunctional family trying to survive domestic violence, drug abuse, and alcoholism. Now, some of you may be confused as to why I'm calling this a hidden gem, because it did win awards and it was written and directed by Gary Oldman, so obviously some big names are attached to this film. But the reality is, guys, it's been 25 years and less than 10,000 people have bothered to rate this on IMDb, plus I can't just walk down the road and find someone who's seen this flick. Not enough people have seen it, I want to give it some praise, and plus BFI have recently released a Blu-ray to celebrate its 25th anniversary, and I saw it recently and oh my goodness, it was phenomenal. It just got me so juiced. The quality is fantastic. I love the little features that come with it, not just the behind the scenes but the awesome little booklet. It just got me juiced, so I want to spread some love. So yes, Gary Oldman made this flick and he self-funded it. He put about 1.5 mil of his own money into this and got some money elsewhere, and I'm actually quite surprised by that because it really doesn't look like a big budget film. And as a result of him using his own money, he had the freedom to do whatever he wanted. And that is the only way I could imagine having Nil by Mouth, because his reasons for making it are tragic as well as powerful. Look at this interview he gave back in the day talking about his views on how alcoholism is portrayed in films.
I'm a recovering alcoholic. My father died of it, and I know a lot of people who have been really, really damaged and are dead from it. As much as I enjoyed the cinematic experience of leaving Las Vegas, I can't say I really believed a great deal of it, because you're not that charming, you stink, and you bleed from your asshole when you drink like that. I thought, when's someone actually going to make a movie that's really take the gloves off and get honest with it, you know?
I mean, holy shit, that is just grim. So, as you can imagine, he was very passionate about making Nil by Mouth, and it's very, very dark and grim as a result of all of this. Now, I'm going to be honest with you straight up, guys. There are elements of the aesthetics I don't like. Technically, I just think it looks a bit too ugly. There are no real establishing shots, the camera's just way too zoomed into the characters' faces, even when they're outside, and it just suffocates me. I do know that was the intention, but for me it just goes on a bit too long. I mean, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes long, for crying out loud. But still, it does work to accentuate the trauma these characters are going through. And when I say trauma, I mean trauma. This film does not glamorize anything. It is dark, depressing, and it feels so real, not just due to the aesthetics and the technology behind everything. I'm talking about seeing Ray Winston's dingling bouncing up and down behind his boxer shorts as he beats the shit out of someone. It gets to me. Ray Winston and Kathy Burke are phenomenal in this film, and I think these are the best performances they've ever given. Now, because Gary Oldman admitted that this film was semi-autobiographical, that gave most of us the impression that Kathy Burke and Ray Winston were playing as his mother and father. And they're not. This film is a cocktail of multiple stories he heard and saw growing up. I feel bad for Gary Oldman though when it comes to that whole thing, because ever since this film came out, everyone thought that Gary Oldman's father was violent, and he wasn't.
It's not about my dad. My dad wasn't violent, and a great deal of it I made up. Yeah.
The thing that accentuates the realism is the dialogue. It just feels too real. It does not feel like movie dialogue. I think this might be the most realistic dialogue I've ever seen in any film ever. Just maybe. There's so much overlapping dialogue, which is something all filmmakers try to avoid due to editing. And hardly any of the lines are filled with exposition or setting up arcs. It's just a load of drunk people chatting shit and talking about horrible things or trying to make sense of certain problems they've got. They're just gossiping, and you do feel like you're a fly on the wall watching these people fall apart. It's all about the dysfunctions and chaos in between the lines, and as time went by, it was really, really hard to watch these pricks make snide comments toward each other. It was just painful. And in my opinion, it's kind of real to a fault at times. Like, some of the dialogue just has no meaning whatsoever. Some of the scenes just go on too long and end up amounting to nothing. Just feels like it's wasting my time every now and again. I think a good 20 minutes or so should have been cut from this flick. There are also some random scenes which I don't understand, like one scene where Ray Winston out of the blue punches this guy. I don't actually know what it was for, some type of planned attack, I didn't get it. And it is also revealed at one point that Ray Winston has a boy from another mother, and I was like, what? Where the hell did this come from? And there's also this one scene where this drunk guy starts quoting a big monologue from Apocalypse Now, whilst Apocalypse Now was still playing in the background on the TV. I don't know. Sure, it feels real, but it did bore me. Still, those issues weren't enough to detract me. Ray Winston constantly gripped me more and more as the film went on. The small glimpses of his past are agonizing. I love how this film doesn't truly point fingers at anyone, it just shows you a load of chaos and Kathy Burke trying to hold it all together. And by the end of it, the final scene just really does get to me. I'm not going into spoilers or anything, but I first saw this film about 15 years ago and I've seen the film roughly 10 times since then. And only just recently did I see all of the small hints of beauty sprinkled throughout the lines in the final scene. I just thought it was wonderful. So in the end, I do strongly recommend Nil by Mouth, but only if you have the stomach for it. It can be very triggering for you if you've come from a past like this. And I won't lie guys, I have firsthand seen quite a lot of this stuff growing up, so some of the scenes are, and always will be, quite hard for me. But it's always worth getting through all of that because I think this film is absolutely fantastic. It's dark, soul-crushing, doesn't sugarcoat anything, doesn't spoon-feed you or ease you into it. It just shows you a load of nastiness, and it does have a wonderful point behind it by the end of the film. So check it out, only if you've got the stomach for it. I'm going to give Nil by Mouth an 8.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching guys. Stay jiggy. The better appreciates you.